my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy Mango, South Florida, and today's date is Monday, March 29th, 2021. Ooh, yeah, so here's stuff in the background and all that. I'm at the downtown saloon. Downtown, they call it. We still call it the saloon, steakhouse, waterfront, and all that. Well, the historic downtown, to be exact, is at 10 South New River Drive East in the heart of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, right along the New River. Local landmark with Riverside Dining. And for more information, you could reach them at 954-463-9800. So it's 954-463-9800. Of course, the historic downtowner.com. That's their website. Ooh, man. Oh, just going through a couple things here. It looks like someone turned themselves in on this horrific car accident. The idiot box is on where I'm at. And, oh, yeah, of course, I've been, looking at the WhiteHouse.gov. Now it's the Biden-Harris administration. Oh, my goodness. Well, screw your obligations as VP. It's going to be called the Biden-Harris administration. Yeah, Huey and Dewey, right? My goodness. Too much, folks, too much. Tells you, the saddest thing about it, even myself, I don't never wish any of these individuals ill. And you know, too, from the time you know me on this show, I'm a real harsh critic when it comes to Joseph Biden. They call him white privilege 46, white privilege Joe Biden, the first white privilege president in U.S. history, globalist butt boy. However, when it comes to his mental health and his well-being, I don't wish anyone ill or ill will. Okay, so never wish this on anyone. My goodness, it's just of course, they want to push for more gun control laws, and you got folks on the social media geniuses out there. One person supports the licensing on firearms and registration. When it comes to the COVID pass, they say papers, please. Can we say double speak? Absolutely. That person, people like that deserve an I love Rosie O'Donnell or Michael Moore button. Bunch of hypocrisy to the core. You can say anti-Roe versus Wade. Remember that, because the whole thing is right of privacy, including the woman's right to choose. And of course, I'm not a fan of abortion in general. That's okay, that's understandable, but I throw that back at them. They love dishing up but hate receiving. But you know what? That's tough titty. Well, I'm not worried. I know there's a bill in Florida called the Second Amendment Preservation Act. Florida Second Amendment Preservation Act. And it was H.R. 1205. I've seen a video on that. And the way I examine it, it's a great referendum pertaining to the anti-commandeering doctrine, which is considered a reflection of the 10th Amendment. So, pro-nullification bill. And I'm very, very happy to get that report. And hopefully just look up H.R. 1205 on the Florida bill and support it. It's fantastic. So, and that's how you gotta look at these areas. And this is why you always gotta support nullification, 10th Amendment actions, anti-commandeering doctrine. I've been telling people for years, it doesn't matter what side what paradigm is in there, who's running the show, who's the president, don't matter. You got that. It's supposed to be these United States of America, not these centralized states. That's the Biden presidency, of course. He says he will work with Republicans on gun control. Yep, pro-Jim Crow. You got a guy who's wearing 2 masks now. Talk about Twilight Zone. Good grief. Yeah, and the whole thing will happen over there. Like even in Colorado, they have one of the toughest gun laws in that region, and still, Rivers background checks, all that it failed. Okay, so it failed. F-. people got to start looking at the realities. That's why I always recommend individuals, even in those particular states, learn your Bill of Rights culture, Article 2. That's covered our Constitution. And those laws are null and void. And I don't care what do you think, because the truth of the matter is, technically the police aren't obligated to protect you. I got one officer that tried to protect him. He got shot. May his soul be forever free. And his father made a statement. He didn't want to see his legacy be in vain if they passed through like federal laws. Of course, they always got the cheerleaders out there. Yay! We got to do licensing. Yep, people like that. Remember, folks, they're pro-enslavement. They love Jim Crow. They want to be shackled. They want to be the peasants. Yes, master. Do as they say, master. And you notice, too, this whole going on with the border. Yeah, I've been watching some of the footage on that. Wow, it's insane, indeed. And believe it or not, even Democrats, that are in the House and all that, they're ticked off as well. So, which is a good thing, because remember, we have these obligations. They have obligations too, and you say, hey, bring them in. Remember, the Biden administration is pro-Club of Rome. All you gotta do is look that up. It's been out since 1968, almost 53 years. It tells you the goals of a one-world order. The Club of Rome is the 10 regions to the world. And that's one thing you always have to look at. Well, okay, enough of my digressing here. First, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to address this here from the TeknoAxe news.com. Hopefully it will come out. TeknoAxe.news. And oh man, one moment here before okay, good. Sometimes I prematurely hit this by accident, folks, and hope you guys forgive me. So this one here, by the Biden administration, ramping up for new battle over net neutrality. Woo, yeah. So we're going to talk about that. Got a few other things here. And as it reads, this is by Patrick Wood, came out today. The main idea of this article is confirmed by Glenn Greenwald's analysis in his article, Congress battles big tech CEOs to transfer censorship oversight in massive campaigns underway to seize control over the censorship is used to as political weapon. Glenn Greenwald has always been a good investigative reporter, so I always give him props. As it says here, in 2019, Senator Ed Markey, Democrat from Massachusetts, stood with Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat from New York, to launch a new radical Green New Deal that would flip America's economic system into a resemblance of the World Economic Forum's Great Reset. In terms of the high-tech industry lingo and disruptive would be right objective to use it. Okay, so, yeah, we all know about a lot of things about the Green New Deal. Too much hype, right? Absolutely. So, I will continue on here. The Verge reports that Mackey is now on a track to introduce new legislation that would re-implement net neutrality that would engrave the no throttling block or paid fast lanes rules into law. Should Markey's new bill fail, his plan B is to stack the FCC with enough Democrats to take matters into their own hands. He explained that to the Verge that once we have 3 Democrats in place at the Federal Communications Commission, I will strongly urge it to reverse Trump FCC wrong-headed decision and restore net neutrality and the FCC's authority over broadband. Yeah, I want power. Bum, 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 bum. Political power, folks. That's what these both parties are very good at, right? Absolutely. That political power fetish makes them so masculine. As I continue on here, net neutrality as a political issue was originally introduced then by Senator Barack Hussein Obama on October 29, 2007. Obama stated, "I'm a strong supporter of net neutrality. What you've been seeing is some lobbying that says that the servers and the various portals through which you're getting information over the internet should be able to be gatekeepers and to change different rates, different websites." And I think, I think destroys one of the best things about the internet, which is that there is an incredible equality there. And remember, as president, he gave the keys to the internet, the keys to the internet to the United Nations. So what does that tell you about Barack Obama? Another globalist bend over Bob. Hallelujah, right? Yes, we can. Oh, man. So I'll continue on here. The key word note is here, government mandated equality. Yes, state knows best, okay? It's the radical left organization, Common Dreams, is joining the call for net neutrality. It claims that 80 million people in the U.S. still don't have adequate broadband at home, with poor families and people of color disproportionately disconnected. There is no proof offered to these vague statistics. Exactly. You got the library, you got restaurants, you got even supermarkets have Wi-Fi, you get coffee shops. Stop lying, please. This is all this deception, okay? By the way, the person who originally coined the term net neutrality in 2003 was Columbia law professor Tim Wu. He recently joined Biden White House staff as a top advisor on technology and competition issues. Yes, thou shalt do things backwards. His appointment was hailed as a win for progressives or stagnants. Remember, when they say they're progressive, they like stagnity. All right. In 2018, Wu authored "The Curse of Bigness: Antitrust in the New Gilded Age." One recent article from Reuters detailing his new position stated, congressional Democrats have already began talks with the White House on ways to crack down on tech companies, including making them responsible for disinformation and addressing their market power. Technocracy, censorship, Big Brother, Orwellian nightmare, Orwellian snowflakes on the prowl, folks. Previous discussions about net neutrality have always been contentious and full of disinformation. Free market forces subject to all currently standing antitrust and anti-competition laws are sufficient to sort out problems of content delivery to consumers. If only those laws would be reinforced. Yeah, would be enforced. Yeah, what they're doing right now, like even certain states and counties around the country, do what they call mercantilism. Okay, so I'll continue on here. It appears that the new administration has other motives in taking control of how ISPs, or internet service providers, and content providers run their businesses. Government control will fix that. What a wet dream, right? Biden wants to enforce and accelerate the already rampant censorship being practiced by big tech today. Remember the phrase above, including making them responsible for disinformation. With the First Amendment free speech already under fire with the so-called fact checkers constantly determining what is disinformation, what is not, the Biden administration is ramping up to take direct control of both content suppliers as well as ISPs, with penalties applied to the non-compliant. This battle for control has been brewing for a long time. Engadget reported that from 2003 onward, the concept of net neutrality terrifies those who were concerned about government regulation, and that back and forth between those camps will likely continue for years. Tim Wu's 2005 paper, Network Neutrality, Broadband Discrimination, did not mention a single word about content management, disinformation, or fake news. The inclusion of these terms in current proposals for net neutrality is new, considering that it is coming from the radical left should make everyone shiver. In short, today's net neutrality is not about helping gamers and video consumers get more bandwidth. It's not about equality. Rather, it's about institutionalizing internet censorship, forcing everyone who disseminates or transmits content to abide by infamous fact-checker rules as leftists determine them. Let me make it very clear. If your blog or journal publishes something that the government declares is false, you're going to be punished for it. Welcome to Orwell's Ministry of Truth. If Americans don't repel these assaults on the First Amendment, the rest of the Constitution will fall like dominoes. Be sure that big media will soon spin up a fresh cycle on progressive-style net neutrality. Just don't believe everything you read. Absolutely, this is how they want to do it. They want to try to tell you what to look at, what to read, what to say. They want to be the slave masters, the Jim Crows of the internet. That's right. I like to use that. We'll call it neo-Jim Crow ideology. Oh yeah, we can throw that back at them too. So Kamala Harris and Joseph Biden, is Jim Crow your Lord and Savior? Anyone that supports net neutrality, tell them you're pro-Jim Crow or a neo-Jim Crow ideologist. Give them a taste of their own confounded medicine. If they want to dish it out, they better learn to receive. And all those little peasants out there, bootlicking, tyrannical bootlickers, can call them out as well. Tell them you're neo-Jim Crow. I bet you know what? If they get offended, who the hell cares? I like to see the internet be free of information freedom. Period. There's stuff I don't even look at. I don't care about some of the sites that are on there. They need me more than I need them. I can make my own mind up, and there's people in the adult world can do the same. Now a bunch of little kids gotta get cry over spilled milk, or they're playing in your sandbox. Absolutely, it's totally ludicrous, unacceptable, and very globalist butt boyism. That's how I gotta see it. So this next one here I'm gonna be talking about actually came from the Florida Bulldog, and good grief. Yeah, looks like this. Sorry about that, folks. A lot of things are happening right now. Oh, here it is. All right. So as it reads here, the court fight over fate of digital images looks to 2022 election. Let's see what they have to say here. This was actually written by Noreen Marcus. So what Noreen has to say here. A lawsuit aimed at making Florida voting more secure and transparent took a breather for last year's elections was active again. In time to figure into a 2022 Senate and governor's race, activists hope. The wonky focus of their concern is digital ballot imagery, electronic footprint that automatically created with each vote cast on a scanner. The images provided a backstop for paper ballots, one that's probably less susceptible to human error than say ballots dripping and hanging chads. Remember the whole Gore presidential recount of 2000? Yeah. Digital images can come in handy for recounts. Therein lies the problem. State law requires generating but not keeping them for future reference. It has been a common practice to destroy images after elections. How can the law say that you can use them, but there's no right to have them preserved? That's a ridiculous contradiction, says Chris Sauter, legal counsel to the nonprofit Audit Elections USA and the plaintiff's lawyers in a lawsuit on appeal in Tallahassee. It is clear that ballot images are important enough to be used in a recount, then they should qualify as an important enough record to be preserved, Sauter said. Joe Scott inherits a lawsuit. About half of Florida counties are free to deep six the digital ballot image. The other half follow the federal rule for election materials by keeping them around 22 months. Among the largest counties with no retention policy are Miami-Dade and Broward County. When Joe Scott became Broward supervisor of elections in January, he stepped into the 6-month-old lawsuit as one of 8 county defendants. The Florida Democratic Party, 3 Democratic legislators, and a handful of voters, one's a registered Republican, are trying to force Florida Secretary of State Laura Lee to order all county supervisors of elections to keep digital images for 22 months. And I'm going to keep on looking here. So far, I don't blame him, but let's continue on. According to Democrat Scott, who worked in the chicken industry before winning office, he's a little more than a normal adversary in the lawsuit. He says he wants the same thing the voting rights activists want: transparency, accuracy, and public oversight. He just has a different approach to reaching those goals. He wants to rely on an auditing system called a clear ballot to back up to digital ballots, as opposed to auditing paper ballots with digital ones that he fears could be hacked. Scott noted that the purpose of a recount is to determine voter intent. Do we want a machine to be the final decision maker on the voter's intent, or do we want a human being, he asked. Broad SOE, let me handle it. I guess that the people behind this lawsuit sort of see this one solution. They don't see the other ways to solve a problem, Scott said. They're trying to force a solution as opposed to letting some people like to come up with a better solution, and they should let me handle it. But to Souder and his clients, letting various election supervisors implement their favorite approaches create a greater problem, no uniformity. After the 2000 election, the U.S. Supreme Court decided in the Bush v. Gordon that Florida systems are allowing counties to use different standards for recounting votes violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The most important argument is that the need for consistency in the laws, that the election law be unified, Chris Souder said. If there's a recount of one of the parties wants to use ballot images, but there are counties that don't preserve them, that automatically destroy them, they're denied that right. Before last year's primary, the plaintiffs in the Tallahassee State Court lawsuit agreed to pause proceedings if the election officials would agree to retain digital images as the November 3rd presidential election. They did. The plaintiffs' Agnes Inducee model was, of course, the 2000 election in which George W. Bush beat Al Gore in Florida by a still contested margin of 537 votes and became president. But on November 3rd, then President Donald Trump won big enough in Florida to avoid a recount. In 2018 Senate Bach redo. Now the plaintiffs worry about the repeat of the 2018 election fiasco in Broward County when Rick Scott beat incumbent Bill Nelson by 10,033 votes statewide. During the subsequent recount, Broward County election officials said they lost 2,040 paper ballots. What the hell is that? Wow. That's very dangerous, folks. Okay? If a digital trail had been available, it could have solved that mystery, Souder argued. Next year, Governor Ron DeSantis and Senator Marco Rubio, both Republicans, are up for re-election. In order to impact the 2022 election, some kind of legal resolution must occur by late this summer, Souder said, adding he hopes the First District Court of Appeal fast-tracks the case back to the trial court. So both sides want the same things. Why continue the expensive litigation? Is there some partisan ulterior motive? Does Clear Ballot have the best lobbyists, but maybe not the best system? Are the parties so invested and entrenched that they can't negotiate a one-size-fits-all solution without judicial referees? Setting the case is still possible, Souder said. Hopefully, it will have to be tried, but we're prepared to try it. And I have to agree. So, and based on all this, with the digital images on the ballots. Of course, losing ballots, that's not good at all. Everyone has to take the responsibility to make sure it's all being ascertained in good faith, especially in the federal elections period, set to hold for 22 months. I would say I do endorse this, including digital images. You put them on file as well because they're considered public information, public records. Sunshine Law and of course, which if I'm correct, that's Chapter 112. I could be mistaken, but Article 1, Section 24A of our Florida Constitution guarantees that. So yeah, keep them all handy, and I have to agree with them on this. And the good thing about it, the folks that are in there were whatchamacallit, all were on that same page here, so which is good. I just found out that Howard Schnellenberger passed away. Wow. And he was he brought the University of Miami to win the first championship, national championship against Nebraska on January 2nd, 1984, with a score of 31-30. And he did stuff with FAU as well. And during that time, he was under Lou Saban. So once Lou Saban left, he got coached. A lot of stuff has been with Louisville as well. A lot of stuff has been. He achieved a lot. It's a real shame. He did. He made a great career as a coach and made it so before free. So my condolences go out to his family members and all the fans. So FAU. Wow. So, so I got my attention. I'm going to do one more here, folks. And this one here came from McCaffrey.com. It says here, stop asking permission where none is required. This is great for all the folks people want to violate your natural rights and all that. It can be done. This is what it has to say here. Stop asking permission when none is required. I wish I could get this message through Republican state legislators. James Madison gave us a blueprint to deal with overreaching federal actions in Federalist 46. He wrote that when he sees the federal government commit as an unwarrantable act, in other words, unconstitutional or even warrantable act that happens to be unpopular, the means of opposition are powerful at hand. And what is the most powerful means of opposition? A refusal to cooperate with officers of the Union. In other words, states should refuse to enforce unwarrantable or even just unpopular laws and refuse to implement unwarrantable or unpopular federal programs. If you read Federalist 46 carefully, you will notice the Madison did not suggest asking anybody permission for refusing to cooperate with the feds. In the words of the old Nike commercials, just do it. But Republicans seem obsessed with getting permission. They want to create these unwieldy processes to review federal actions and declare them unconstitutional before they stop enforcing them. They either want courts or the Attorney General to make a ruling, and then maybe the governor will stop enforcement if he wants to. Last week, the Wyoming Senate took a fantastic bill that would have ended state enforcement of specific federal gun control, and changed it into a bill to create a process to review gun control. If it passes, it won't do a damn thing. You can read more about it here. There's a link for that. Yeah, it's like, why? Just say, wipe your rear end in it. 10th Amendment. Done. Wipe your rear end and send it back to them. All right, I can't emphasize this enough. These dumb processes aren't necessary. A state does not need permission or determination of constitutionality on federal gun control from our Attorney General, a court, or anybody else. The legislator can ban enforcement of specific acts anytime it wants for any reason. No determination of constitutionality is necessary. It can ban enforcement on all federal gun control simply because it's Tuesday and there's snow on the ground. The Supreme Court agrees. The courts have already given the states the permission they need to opt out federal enforcement schemes. Refusal to cooperate with federal enforcement rests on a well-established legal principle known as the anti-commandeering doctrine. Simply put, the federal government cannot force states to help implement or enforce any federal act or program. The anti-commandeering doctrine is based primarily on 5 Supreme Court cases dating back to 1842. No determination of constitutionality is necessary to invoke the anti-commandeering doctrine. State and local governments can refuse to enforce federal laws or implement federal programs whether they are constitutional or not. So for heaven's sakes, Republicans, stop asking permission where none is required. And in the quotes right here on Federalist Papers 46, should unwarrantable measure of the federal government be unpopular in particular states, which would seldom fail to be the case, or even a warrantable measure be so, which may sometimes be the case. The means of opposition to it are powerful and at hand. The disquietude of the people, their repugnance, and perhaps refusal to cooperate with officers of the Union, the frowns of the executive magistrate of the state, the embarrassment created by legislative devices which would often be added on such occasions, would oppose in any state very serious impediments, and were the sentiments of several adjoining states happen to be in union, would present obstructions with the federal government would hardly be willing to encounter. Once again, it was James Madison, Federalist Papers 46. And those are the facts, folks. You don't have to ask the courts or anything like that. Anything that's repugnant to our Constitution. Okay, on a federal level. If it's unconstitutional, it's void. And you can use the same thing on the state level. Any law that's considered repugnant to your state constitution is invalid with no force. No full force, whatever to call it, but it's null and void. Don't panic. Just do. You have to hear all these little drama about the federal gun control laws Biden's trying to push. You know what? They could stick it, as far as I'm concerned. And it doesn't make these politicians up there any more masculine. All right? That's how I see it. So give them the big middle finger. I do it all the time and have no shame. That's out of love, by the way. That will be it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. Any questions, comments, and interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to the quorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes of these articles on my speaker page. And if you want to contact me, you can email me at LokiLuckNumbers03@protonmail.com. Or if you send some donations, you hit me at paypal.me/LokiLuckNumber3 and Cash.app as well, same / that would be cool. So if you want to support Technocracy News, 10th Amendment Center, and Florida Bulldog, that would be greatly appreciated, because here's the thing. We're not doing it for the money. It's all on principle. Once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love. May your guardian spirits be with you.